Terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again. Oh, little do you know. Kazuma, I think you're funny. Anyway, looks like we exposed your phantom lady at last. Miss Jezebel Brett, a student from Great Britain. Is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There's a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along. Yes, you have, haven't you? I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I am sure of. Are you sure? Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see any of it. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself, then, on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table. I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor, just after I bent down and picked it up. Bang. Why would you lean down? I'm very curious why you would just see a gun and go, let me pick that up. I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me, looking as white as a sheet. He bundled me in some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking by the detective, he apprehended the suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, and because I was shut in the pantry, I have no idea what happened outside in the dining area. Ah, there you are. Well done, both of you. Professor Mikotoba. Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy, our justice system even more so. Which is why I firmly believe that we needed to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled. Well, makes no difference, lawyer or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life. I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway. What? What are you saying, Kazuma? So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma! Well then, it looks like it all comes down to you, young man. To me? Yes, you need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case. Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor. Oh, wrong button. Did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor at UMA. And it was I who invited him. Oh, I see. I didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. But let's not forget who we're going up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement in our police bureau was to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. You okay? Okay. But I've no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight, right to the last. Best of luck! Thank you! Now then. I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need. Quash. Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-sama. Oh, God, recess is over. Yeah. It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Wonder if it's her. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow before those old fossils know what hit them. The sword again. Kazuma. And by wonder, I mean it's very obvious. What? Thank you, really. What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believed me, then I'm fairly sure I'd already been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer, and as a friend. And as a boyfriend. Coming from you, that means a lot. I guess we'll find out. I'm pretty sure it's this Jezebel woman. It's not her, I could promise you that. She's all in the later episodes. I've seen her a lot. I don't remember her name. But it's not her. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really going to give up on his dream of studying abroad? That's kind of what a true friend he is. So this isn't just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. Alright then. I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. It's her, but you didn't kill him. You can treat me to one of the sukiyaki meals I like from Yume Cafeteria on University Street. With an extra portion, of course. Extra large portion. Court hereby resumes the trial for Inosuke Naruto. Prosecutor Aochi, have you managed to subpoena the witness? Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. It's her. Many faked it. Just could be. We'll see. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government. Well, good. Fuck you. Ugh, sorry, don't apologize. Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about. Highly unlikely that the good relations we forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. But you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down and our nation founders? Again, terribly sorry. If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. Kazuma is just, he calls everyone out and I love it. You really have nothing to worry about, Ryunosuke. What do you mean? A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses? Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England? Shut up, you jumped up rookie boy. You and your friend know nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in. Sweat just vanished as feeding up magic hands. By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures. I won't deny that I'm no expert, I'm just a student. And one who could arguably study harder, too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there is one thing that I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. You tell him. Well said. I love this. Ryunosuke, despite the wide-eyed look of terror... Jesus. Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system and exists solely for the pursuance of truth. God, I don't know why I read that word and my brain didn't want to read it. Ah, right button. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. A visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Jezil Brett, I can't talk. Yes. Please stop it. What? Her hat! All of her! What? Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan, and from such a distant land. Call it tea! Someone bring English tea. In England, no discussions take place without tea. Is that true? No idea. So, could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court? Of course. My name is Satori Hazunaga. I have been working undercover as the head waiter at La Carnival. Yes, we know all about you already. Dr. Hazunaga, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first. Is that true? No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are one thing you're sure of. Oh yes, I think I did, didn't I? Yet your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Ernest, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking. Guilty. So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please. Suck up. What the... What is happening? Is she speaking English? Is she speaking English? Is that why they can't understand her? I'm gonna guess she's speaking English. Haru! I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but... What? He speaks fucking English too? The lady says her name is Jezisel Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student currently enrolled in Yuma University's medical faculty. Oh my, what a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of the delightful language of the British people. Oh, I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said, but it was as beautiful as a hummingbird's song. So, you're annoying, as far as I can tell. The detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Wait, you speak English too? Yes, I agree. I mean, they teach English in schools in Japan, so that's not a surprise. The prosecutor apparently doesn't speak it. Ah, you'll obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Her English doesn't rattle you at all, does it? Nor you. You've clearly been paying attention in your English classes, Ryunosuke. The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. 3 days ago, at a restaurant called La Carnival, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Right? Is that correct? What is that? The way they write the version of English is interesting. She says yes. That was way more than yes. What are you talking about? This could take some time. So even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese? I bet you she fucking can. I'm afraid that hat is gonna come to life. Her hat scares me. I don't know why. It's just so much. She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting when you're the one who engineered her escape. I was just following special orders from the Bureau. Well now, dear lady, I hate this man. Would you be so kind as to cast your eyes on this photographic print? Seeing as you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps? This is okay. Is she gonna do this the whole time because this is annoying? Apparently it was very frightening and sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say Yes, it would appear the lady did witness the crime. The very moment when the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood. Did she? Please not. Please speak Japanese. Order in the court. Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement. Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is. Hello? You opened your sword. Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify, if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beefsteak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor and they got into a fierce argument. And not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit. Sounds very suspicious. But you had to mention you don't carry a gun. This is a condemning testimony indeed. God. No, I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all.
Objection!
Quiet, you filthy wretch. Look at you black-hearted blackguard. Look at the Snow White angel. Oh my god, this man has a crush on this woman just because she's English. I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court is going to believe. You're still making the same mistakes, Rooney. He looks so disappointed. What's Haru's favorite ballet? I'm not sure. You're gonna do the Swan Lake, isn't it? That's what you're gonna say. You mustn't. Yeah. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. It's a lesson you need to learn. Ugh, but he's so annoying. Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and the two witnesses who testified before, and reported back to the bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. The testimonies of the last two witnesses were completely worthless, however. Well, even so. On the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. As you can see, there is nowhere about her person where she could conceal a There is everywhere on her person you could put a motherfucking gun! In her fucking hat? In the little folds of her dress? Excuse me? No place you could put a gun? Do you see this outfit? There are so many places you could hide a gun! What are you talking about? I would think she would hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to. Very revealing outfit. Unless, and until the precise location where the witness is to have hidden a weapon can be shown, this is mute. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. In every part of your... Even the fucking bow can hold a gun. Look at how big that bow is. And stick it in your curls. What are you talking about? There are the witness's own words on the matter. Ah, that's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift up her dress, I could prove it! Also, wouldn't she have had a handbag because she's an English lady? And English ladies normally carried bags? Don't think about doing anything rash for a new day. But I didn't fire the gun I picked up. There must have been another gun there that day. Reveals her gaudy taste. You're right about that, which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we will need to pull her testimony apart. I don't like that dumbass smirk on her face. Here we go. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. Let's look at, do we have any new evidence? Hold on. No new evidence. Okay, just checking.
Yes!
After 2 p.m., in fact. That's really quite a late lunch, isn't it?
Objection!
You don't keep up with the latest fashions from Britain, do you? Late luncheons are in vogue. Isn't that right? No. A decisive English no has quite a sting to it. The gentlewoman is currently working in the victim's research laboratory, it seems, so it was apparently a daily occurrence that they would lunch together. But on the day in question, the victim had another appointment at the clinic first. Yes, which we can prove from the medical report card that was submitted as evidence. That's right. Miss Brett and the victim went to lunch following the victim's treatment, which is why it was so late. Yes, that all makes perfect sense. Such wonderful logic. What a shining example of English intelligence this fine gentlewoman is. So you both arrived at the restaurant. What happened next? I'm gonna push everything until I get evidence. He was unable to eat, you say. And that was because he just had a tooth removed at the Hoda Clinic, correct? That's right. You're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering. What, is Miss Brett aware of that fact? It seems so, yes. She'd heard that the professor was to have some dental treatment. So that would mean that it was you who ate the steak pictured here. Is that right, Miss Brett? That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was left at the horrifying events. Exactly as it was left? Dear me, what a harrowing experience to have traveled to a distant island on the far side of the world and be embroiled in such a tragic incident. Have no fear, my dear lady. I swear I will crush the evil fiend that has projected. Oh my god. I hate this man. Heart will extinct him. I hate this man. So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all? That's right, other than some carbonated water. Just water? Yes, the professor wasn't able to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. So it appears that the diners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. And they probably made it. They each raised a glass of carbonated water? What do you think, Rydersuke, about the witness' last statement? Do tell us, what is this profound bearing? There's only one glass on the table, wasn't there? The significance of the statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness' last statement to be formally added to the testimony. Well sidestepped, counsel. Very well. Miss Brett, kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony. Gladly, she said. She didn't say a fucking thing, look at this, she's just grinning. That was brilliant, Kazuma. I'm going to remember that one. What are you, chicken? Which one? The significance will become apparent when the time is right. I could really use that phrase. I'd hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that. Right, I love his disappointed expression. He's just like, this is my boyfriend, this is the man I chose, and he is dumb. Hold on, I'll be right back. Look at this disappointed expression. Love it. Hold on. So did it get added in here? Can't examine anything yet. For real? Oh, goodness.
Yes!
I never got into an argument with the professor. All I did when I noticed him was go over to say hello. I'm gonna eat while I'm doing this, which probably is not the best idea. Please, don't get angry with me. No, I wasn't directing that retort at you. It was meant for the lady next to you. But anyway, as I said, I did not argue with the professor. I'm afraid your words are in vain. Sorry? Miss Brett does not appear to speak Japanese. No, of course not. She probably fucking does. Why would you come study here if you don't speak the fucking language? Dumb. Dumb as fuck. Japanese is such a cumbersome language anyway. It's not. It's a pretty language. English is the future. We must all Sapikaku Englishu. I hated that. That made me uncomfortable. Japanese is a pretty language. I wonder if the prosecution will feel that way forever. Or only in the presence of a beautiful woman, Well, that beautiful woman is telling blatant lies with a completely straight face. It is rude. I need to be able to eat. I have to find something that will unravel her testimony, no matter how seemingly insignificant it may be. Anyway, it seems that after the argument, the accused briefly returned to his own seat. That part ties in with what you said, doesn't it? Yes. I still had some coffee to drink. And the next time you got up after that was when I'd finished my coffee and stood up to leave.
Yes!
Like I said, I did not shoot that gun. And like I said, there's no point repeating that assertion over and over. Well, I wasn't expecting to be attacked by my own side. Thanks, boyfriend, for calling me out on repeating things. Nevertheless, defendant, you can't deny that when the shot rang out in the restaurant, you had a gun in your hand. Well, yes, that's true, but all I did was pick up the gun I saw on the floor next to the professor as leaving the restaurant. In fact, yes, there was someone much closer to the victim than me at the time. That highly
Objection!
That will do, you dirty, rotten scoundrel. Dirty? Your baseless accusations could very well cause an international incident, boy. It seems to me that your accusation is just as baseless as ours. What nonsense! The lady is merely stating what she saw. And this is already an international incident as far as I'm concerned, anyway.
Yes!
It's all very well saying that, but can you prove it? Absolutely. I verified it personally. You verified it? Yes. Immediately after the incident, I checked to make sure the lady was not carrying a weapon. I distinctly remember her saying, "I'm not." That's all you did? The only incident is the swan. You just asked her? Surely you carried out a physical search, Inspector. No. Why on earth not? The Honorable English gentlewoman clearly stated that she did not possess a weapon. You all are so stupid! Ah! There was obviously no need for any further probing into the matter. There was every need to do that. Or, there was no permission given for any further probing into the matter, perhaps. Think what you will. But if you're going to continue with this preposterous claim that the refined lady was concealing a firearm, the prosecution demands that you support your assertion with facts. In other words, he wants evidence. Ugh. The lady wishes to point out, of course, she wanted to stay and assist with the investigation. But she was in a hurry to give a presentation at the university, so she was compelled to leave. Not to mention the fact that your office had told you to get the woman out of there. No, not get her out of there. I just urged her to leave. The lady would like to point out that she had no intent to run away from the scene of the crime, which is why she's only too happy to cooperate and testify here in court today, of course. Unlike a certain student who refuses to admit when the game is up. You could at least have the courtesy to pay attention when I'm goading you. Bitch. So she's maintaining that you got into an argument with the professor, at the end of which you shot him. Which is an out-and-out, totally unfounded lie. Still, her statement is very compelling. After all, she's an elegant, refined, young, and beautiful gentlewoman from Great Britain. In stark contrast to you, dressed from head to toe in a dull black school uniform. I'm dressed exactly the same way you are, except for the flopping red ribbon! Well, anyway, this is our only chance to expose her testimony as the fiction that it is. If we can't do that, the trial's over. Even you with your thick skin must be able to feel the murderous looks you're getting from around the room. Only too well, I feel half dead already. And the fact that I can't see a single inconsistency in your testimony isn't making me feel any better either. The first thing to do is press her on any of her statements that seem even slightly off to you. Do that, and an opening will present itself, I promise you. Didn't I just do that? Literally did that. Hold on. Okay, so there's this one where she said they both shared a drink seemed off. There's only one glass. Yeah. Oh no, it's just gonna repeat it. Okay. Let's save. Okay. Just in case I fuck up.
Yes!
Yes, being the waiter, I poured the 2 glasses myself. I clearly remember doing so. Except you're actually a detective. And the beefsteak, that was for you, Miss Brett? Oh, totally forgot. What? The lady says that she'd heard it was not customary to eat beef here until Japan opened its doors to the world. Oh yeah? Yes, that's true. What a frightful place, is the lady's opinion. And I've heard it's not customary to eat sashimi in Great Britain. Now that's frightful. Every country has its own cuisine. As long as people have food to eat, what does it matter what it is? True, come to think of it. First time I tried carbonated water, it was much more of a shock than the first time I tried beef. Mmm. Yeah, I hate when that light pops up. Somehow, I feel like there's something out of place. What she's saying. We need to pounce on even the slightest thing now. You never know when it might lead us to our goal. Our goal of turning this trial around. Understood, Kazuma. Can I just keep pressing this? Or do I need to prove it?
Yes!
Okay. Yeah, you just basically take it in. Yeah. You know, sometimes it happens for things like spark plugs, other things. Can I just present the picture? See, there's only one glass.
Yes!
You're thinking, that's it! Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photographic print. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. But it was exactly as it was left. Yeah. Yeah, that happens too. Yeah, that is correct, the lady says. Well, it's odd, very odd. Yeah. Dear me, what's odd in the defense's inability to express itself? Ugh. Ryusuke, what is it about the print that looks odd to you? Well, obviously it's the cheers. The cheers? Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1. Ooh, we get it at, anywhere, really. Ah. You're quite right, Counsel. There's only 1 glass pictured here.
Objection!
Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over a minute too? Yeah. You just bring it in for both? That's a good choice. Yeah, it's probably just to bring it in at like the same time, unless it starts like being a constant issue. A possible difference does presence or absence of a glass make on the case?
Objection!
Two, you say. Could it be that the detective here removed a glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence? Of course not. I would never do something so reckless. But there should have been 2 glasses on the table, or are you going to try to tell me you can clink with only 1? You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table. Yeah, that sounds like a good deal. Good idea. Inspector, what did the lady say? Can we just make her speak Japanese, please? It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table. What? It was also terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact that I'd been there at all, she's saying. But gracious. Sorry. There, as I assured the court before, this is no consequence at all. Oh, please. You must remember that this student had just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or two in her state of disarray? How would she have done it? That's absurd. Oh, really? So do we take it that you are now going to accuse this vulnerable, young, and beautiful woman of mischief? Yes. What? No. This can't be put down to mischief. I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene. It would seem that she slipped it into a small handbag she was carrying. A handbag, you say? Something she could have stuck a gun in! Yes, Your Excellency, a small handheld pouch commonly carried by the well-to-do women in England. So the beautiful lady has very graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now, calling this mischief. However, the fact remains the glass had absolutely no bearing on this case. Mild peril. This student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning. That's kind of the fucking point. Should we not be using logical reasoning? But in the end, it comes to nothing. No more pretentious accusations. You have wasted enough time already. I have not wasted any time yet. Probably. Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed the glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing on the case. Counsel for the defense, are you in agreement? Well, I don't know really. If you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show that it has some deeper significance. Yes, you're right. So she took the glass away in her handbag. There's a deeper significance there. It's a handbag. Wait! The lady put the glass in her handbag, you say? Yes, do try to keep up. Oh, the Ice Age movies are pretty good. It's already been explained to the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items, like guns! Let me see, a little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag, in which it would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun. You're right! Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that, too. What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard? It's really very simple. A gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire the gun, we can deduce there must have been another firearm at the scene. A true murder weapon, if you will. You can't seriously be suggesting... Inspector Hosonaga. Yes? Did you or did you not search Miss Jezel's Brett's handbag on the day of the murder? No, sir. I did not. As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag. I'm guessing that they don't have forensic evidence to look at the gun he had to see if a bullet was fired from it. Or they just don't care. Order. What is the meaning of this, Inspector? The meaning of what, Prosecutor Ouchie? Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations. Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask. You think so, Kazuma? Oh my god, I forgot about this. Don't die. Ugh. Well, what a sorry situation. Please don't die. Clearly you have no faith in the police. Not right now. You were coughing up blood every couple of minutes and you didn't check the woman for a weapon. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting, simply because it was unnecessary. Unnecessary in what way? I have to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I had completely forgotten about. This photographic print. This print is of a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. Hold on a minute. Shut up. He has a bull on his arm that matches the plate. If he wasn't eating, how did he get burned? I'm probably like steps ahead of what's fucking happening right now. As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag. Well, I never. You could see right through to what's inside. That's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment. So the contents are clearly visible. Exactly, so there's no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. As you can see, there's nothing to apply Miss Brett's guilt here, whatever, adding words to it. Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruto-san. Order! Inspector Hosonaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once. Certainly, Your Excellency. I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness, Consul. The court has now been shown considerable evidence. Yeah. As the photographic print just submitted into the court record appears to have no further significance, I am satisfied that there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Indeed, and there was only one logical conclusion, that the pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us, hi kitty, thanks for the host, is the only possible perpetrator of this crime. No, just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around. I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. Oh no, Kazuma doesn't look well. Kazuma? I'm sorry, Runosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue. What? You mean this is it? I hate this man. I must say you put up quite a fight for a rookie student. Let the weak are meat, while the strong eat. Ha ha. Excuse me? You are wasting your time. There's no way to defeat true justice. A fact you can chew on to your heart's content. From the inside of your cell. This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? And Kazuma. His dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma. What? They made it sound so angry. Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about the last photograph the detective produced that we can contest. Which means there's no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue. Wait. Shut up a minute. Let me look at it. There's this. There's this, fucker. This matches another picture. Very well. I will now proceed immediately to the ruling. It seems we will be able to report to the British government on time after all. That smug little... Runosuke Naruto, having considered all of the evidence placed before me, I hereby find you...
Yes!
Interrupting. Wait, Your Excellency. Runosuke? I don't think you can rule on this case yet.
Objection!
This amateurness is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems that the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom.
Yes!
Where did the glove? Has he been wearing a glove the whole time? What is this fashion statement? Excuse me? Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photograph or print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. I don't think so either, because he slammed his hand down a bunch of times. Now that means if there was a problem with the evidence, some significant detail, I mean. I guess I haven't really been looking at this hand. When ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question.
Objection!
This is blatant straw clutching. Look at this photographic print. All of it shows is the handbag the gentlewoman was carrying on that day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence. The burn mark, though. You better know what you're doing, Ryunosuke. I understand your objection, Counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag. Ha! My thoughts exactly! Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes. Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. If only I could put my finger on it. Very well. I will grant the defense one final opportunity. What? But be warned that if I am unsatisfied with your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Your Excellency. So, take another look at that photographic print Inspector Hazunaga submitted before. I will do just that. And I know. Do I have to wait until it tells me how to do this? Oh, here we go. You will identify for the court where in this print we see the significant details to which you've alluded. Right here. Is it not gonna glow? Oh, this is just to do it on your own thing? Well, here. This.
Yes!
Look at this, here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
Objection!
Dear me, I was pondering what new piffle you would come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist? Clearly, that has nothing whatsoever to do with the magnificent lady's handbag. It has to do with the plate, though. Yes, that is a burn mark, you're right. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noticed that when he was performing the post-mortem examination. What is happening? It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report. What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either. Yes, we do. It had to be at dinner. The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. However, as Prosecutor Uchi points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise detail of this burn. Excuse me, Your Excellency. No, Excellency? God, it would seem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the dean and other university staff. No, but you ain't leaving. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now. No? Oh, of course, dear lady. I hate this guy. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway. What's your thinking on this, Ryunosuke? Do you believe this burn does have something to do with the case? To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. I was thinking I should keep digging and digging, in the hope that I might uncover something useful. Can I do it now? It's right here. It's right here. Look at that! Look at it! Yes, you're right. I am? We can just link that burn to the case. If we can do that, we might be able to prise the shutting door back open again. Just give up, counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that. Indeed, I'm afraid that without evidence, I cannot allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture. But if we had evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case, was the stake all along, then you would allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face. Really? I have to find some link between that burn and the case. This is the moment of truth. Time to find some evidence that proves what that burn really means! So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court.
Yes!
What's this, counsel? You got another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore. Do hurry up, Rookie. What are you trying to say? Of what? Of what? Of what? Make it. You're a goober. To inconvenience this poor lady any further really would be quite inexcusable. Actually, we may need you to stay here with us a little longer if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? Reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How?
Objection!
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. I'm trying. This right here, this right here, this right here.
Yes!
That's a beefsteak, you dumbass. The plate. Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on. The plate? Ah. Are you alright? As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of La Carnival. Ah! The emblem on the plate. And the victim's burn are exactly the same shape. Ryunosuke, you genius! Thank you. Keep complimenting me more. I love it. You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Objection!
But even if that is the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before or the day before that. It most likely happened at some other unrelated time. Well,
Objection!
Sadly, Prosecutor Achi, the chances of that are extremely slim. Thanks. Why? The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga? I'll be right back. What you need? You need to close it? Oops. I can get out. It is closed. What you want? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly. But... It would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And, although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. Does it? There was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of La Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation. But you're a detective, not a waiter!
Yes!
There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. And yet Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream, not on the day or any day before it. That's right, and the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. What are you suggesting? Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day, that would be beyond careless, I think, Consul. He was also drugged up. The rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antiques dealer. All of us would, without any question, have heard him scream. Would you agree, Prosecutor Aochi? Well, yes, I suppose. So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it. Ryunosuke, do you think? He was dead before the burn, which means he was dead before the gunshot. Never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson was already dead. No man can remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible. I mean, I can think of 2 people who could do that. Apart from in one particular situation. Counsel, are you suggesting? Yes, it's only possible. If the man was already dead. Already dead! Which means he was poisoned! Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead. That's madness! Order, please. Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot. That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by this rookie student, but clearly he has no grasp of the facts.
Objection!
No, Prosecutor Aochi, it's you who has no grasp of the facts. Love when he gives sick burns like this. I beg your pardon? As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement. But, Your Excellency, the justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment. Right? You sure did. Thank you. And a poisoner. She's like a Black Widow type. What was that smile? Shout out to Judgment! Tomorrow! I can't wait! I'm so excited. I might actually do an early stream to play Judgment. I might go get it, and then as soon as it downloads, fucking play it. I'm so hyped. So beyond hyped. Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours. Well, the store doesn't open till 10. And the first Judgment took about half an hour or more to download. So probably not until like 11. Maybe. Depends how fast it downloads, but they are big games. But yeah, it doesn't open up till 10. I probably won't be up immediately at 10. And then I gotta drive down there. That takes me like 20 minutes. I probably won't be back at the house until around 10:40, 11. So yeah, I'd say anytime after 11 is when I'm gonna stream. Ah, Miss Brett. You speak Japanese? I'm giving her an English accent because she should have an English accent while speaking Japanese. Well, of course I do. I am studying in your country after all. I'm still playing Judgment. I can't wait. Excited. But I'll definitely be streaming past too. And then why have you been speaking through an interpreter till now? My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. I'm sure you won't. I'm sure she'll be there. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible. I go Scottish, I apologize, I'm trying really hard. Also, Japanese is fucking pretty, you bitch. I don't think she's gonna die. She doesn't wear white. Trust me, I do enough side stuff and minigames, you're not gonna miss anything. But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level. Oh, well. You are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this. This lavish consideration you so graciously afford us. She told you your language is Ucky. No, but there's minigames and stuff. I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson. So, we're finally going to hear her own words on the matter. It is very hard to switch between English accent and, like, just me talking. Ugh, things are getting interesting, Runusuke. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrists like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life could be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. Poison! But of course, this country's inferior investigation techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. This girl's basically just admitting she murdered him, but she's like, haha, you won't catch me. The most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you. Easy does it. I hope that this is the last time I will have to sully my lips with the coal stones of your unbecoming tongue. I'm gonna punch a bitch. Excuse me? Japanese is pretty. I like English accents, but Japanese is pretty. Fucker. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone. You insulted me. I'm angry. Not at all, not at all. It's a delight. Merely to hear you speak, dear lady. And it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant. I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today. Minister of Justice. May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen. Fuck you. Huh? Thanks? Was that a prayer then? Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with a cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. I'm sure I don't need to remind you, Counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this wisdom's testimony, I'll be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear? Shit. Okay. You good, bro? Yes, Your Excellency. We're good now. Then you may proceed with the cross-examination. He hit himself so much harder than I did. I barely tapped myself. I'm not gonna hit myself.
Yes!
But his hand was on the steering hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You can't not have noticed. Do you think so? Let me ask you something. Sorry? Ever since I arrived at this courtroom, and even still now, the fly on those slightly black trousers of yours has been wide open. You can't not have noticed, can you? Huh? What? Oh, goodness gracious. What fun. Oh my god, I don't like her. She's definitely the murderer. You hadn't realized. The dear lady is absolutely right. As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well as yourself. Why didn't you say something, Kazuma? It's because she looks like Haru. Why didn't you tell me? Dr. Wilson was a true English gentleman. He chose honorable silence over a vulgar scream. Can your tiny brains imagine such a thing? Oh yes, I think my tiny brain can. Man.
Yes!
Well, I can't. Anyway.
Yes!
As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water. Is that right? So? Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at the time, if you remember. Which explains why he ordered that drink. Correct, waiter? Exactly as you say, sir. Although? Whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak to the table. I'm afraid I don't remember that. As in so rude. Rude. Damn you. Well, I have enough English to understand that at least. For the benefits of it, of course, it means bless you. It does not. I think it means the exact opposite. Anyway.
Yes!
Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhages from ballistic trauma. Yes. Luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. And as there were no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death, it could only have been a bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent— Did you test the gun? To see if it had been fired in the first place? Food. Food is always good. But it doesn't make sense. The burn must have happened straight away. The plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Yes, that's true. If it had cooled even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that. And if the victim burnt his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must have already been dead at that point.
Objection!
And yet, the fact is that the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Until you're able to show the court evidence to disprove that, that is a complete waste of time. I concur. Prosecutor Ouchie is right.
Yes!
Without leaving a trace? If someone is shot, or strangled, or stabbed, or thrown from a height... Are you okay? Okay. However, a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces in the body. Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga? As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation. There would be a physical trace with all those causes of death, that's true. But maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark. If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it? Oh no, perish the thought, calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question. All I heard was her knock stuff over. On my honor, I, Takasuchi Achi, will cut down any who dare cast such aspersions. A way of killing someone that leaves no trace? We need some evidence to back us up here. Yes, evidence.
Yes!
Inferior, what do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. In this country, you investigate once, and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. The carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. I'm sorry. Are you okay? Can I talk to him? He has a question mark. It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try to preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand. Haha, a killer blow. The lady is as formidable. She is beautiful. Amazing. He's actually admitting to our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Ouchie is finally starting to see sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't quite seem right. What do you think, Ryunosuke? I think it's going terribly! No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected. She's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor. Kazuma. What, Ryunosuke? There is one thing I noticed, something that's been bothering me. Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her. Inspector Hosonaga. The detective? Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant, if it might present an opening, maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on the last statement one more time. If you think so, but... this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective. Alright then. I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose, once I press Miss Brett in her last statement again.
Yes! Wait.
Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right. Look at him. He's lost in his own thoughts. It's time. Pursue the man in his train of thought. Sorry? Pursue? I'll explain how to do it now, Ryunosuke. It's all down to the witness marker. What marker? At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. But by moving the marker left and right, equal. Cool. Okay. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere among the people in the stand, take a good look around. Alright then, so first I should move the marker across and focus on the detective. Pursue him with X.
Wait. Excuse me.
What is the meaning of this? Oh my god, we almost get a heart attack. Please breathe. Please breathe. Don't die. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts. Deeply. It looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say? If there's something you'd like to say, please, share it with the court.
Objection!
What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination will be over immediately. Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not. The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yes, not to mention the fact he's intimately involved in the case. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes? Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Well, yes, if you don't mind. I would like to speak. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain, which is why I, Satori Hosonaga, always try to make every investigation involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done! Oh my god, don't die! A crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this for example. Is that... This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. Man, you have fancy-ass bottles for carbonated water. Let me just point that out. And yes, it's lost all of its fizz, having been open 3 days now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day our police force will be among the best in the world. Time is coming, I guarantee it. Oh my god. Take him to a hospital. I can't say I condone this witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence. Miss Brett? Can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death? Disappointing Snoop trivia? Oh no. Yes, it was that bottle. Can I examine it? The label's written in a foreign language. Do you know what it says, Kazuma? I think it's French. This must be very expensive water. Yes, but what does it say? That's what I was asking. Then go to France and ask. You could just say that you don't know. This is carbonated water. It's the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. It looks like there's a little left in the bottle. Although it's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much I'm absolutely parched. I'll just have a sip of this to keep me going. No, Ryanusuke, you can't do that. For one thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence. Oh no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Ryanusuke. In more ways than one. I wonder, could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden. I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility. La poison, right? That's all it's gonna let me look at? Okay. She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Also poisoned. Very well, counsel, you may begin the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor. Let me see if this gives me anything new now. Started the narrative. I did. I got evidence for this.
Yes!
What is this? The bottle of water? Actually, there is one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison. Poison? On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? Because she took the glass on the other side of the table, which would have been his. Because the steak in the glass that we see in the picture was on her side of the table. So she took the poisoned glass. I need a whiteboard. Write down theories on. On that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only person? There's only, wait, what is the English in this? There's only one person is what it should say. Who could have possibly have done it? Giselle Brett, it was you.
Objection!
This is outrageous. Just to such a thing without a scrap of evidence? You little rookie imbecile, have you even considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten we only just signed the Accord of Friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling of your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime. What? The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth. Ahem. If I may. Oh, she's that kind of accent. It is you who should be silent. Of course. Dear lady. Oh gosh. Where did that come from? She just snapped. I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies. I'm sorry, my lady, to what are you referring? I described your police force as inferior. But no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector, and whether it contained poison or not? Did he drink it? Oh my god, did you drink the fucking bottle of water? Is that why you're coughing up blood? Just slowly dying from poison? You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. Don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. And? What did you find, Inspector? I order tests for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. This country! We could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency. What? Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself. No. I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you. But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours. I hate him. I was so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned. Thank you, counsel. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution has asserted, a shot to the chest from the gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett. Oh no, I'm just glad the matter is resolved. Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present to the court at this point? Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more. Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving. Bad ending. Oh my god, here she goes! This is how she fits in. Please wait. Isn't that... What is the meaning of this? Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. I can talk, swear. Hello there, question marks. Susato Mikotoba, judicial assistant to the defense. Oh, she's the professor's daughter. Mikotoba. In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package, wrapped in a furoshiki cloth. Well, I understand you are the judicial assistant to the defense, but why is this sudden ingress into my courtroom? Ha! A judicial assistant? And a woman, no less. I will beat you up, man. You are all over the English woman, but the Japanese lady comes in and you're a fucking fuckwad. I will beat you up. Leave her alone. The rules state that females are not permitted in this court of law other than to testify. Yes, I fully understand. I ask only for 5 minutes of time. I have some vital evidence that I must hand over to the defense. You're too late, little girl. The trial's already been concluded. No, it hasn't! Shut up! 5 minutes. I will not allow a moment more. But, Your Excellency, I am most grateful. Who exactly are you? I'm sorry, there's no time. Please simply accept this for now. What is it? A report about something? Written in English. It's Jezel Brett's research. The Englishwoman's. After the trial resumed earlier, I hurried back to the university. I went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical faculty and borrowed this paper. Oh yes, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she? So did this research, whatever it is, have something to do with the case? I'm afraid I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of the trial myself. Oh, no, of course not. Special characteristics of pure air and its effects on human subjects. Interesting. Pure air? What's that? Never heard of that word before. It's a poison! Time's up. The prosecution demands the immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom. We gotta fight. I'm gonna fight that man. There was too little time for me to read it in detail. Also, that was not 5 minutes. I read much faster than your 5 minutes, excuse me. But I've summarized what I could on a note just inside the cover. If you think it could be valuable, please cast your eye over it. This is wonderful. Thank you. Goodbye then. And good luck. You have long enough, counsel. We cannot detain our English guest any longer. Yes, we can. Hold on. Let me look at this new evidence. She's a ghost. Let me look at this new evidence. Fuck off. A poison made from the bark of certain trees in the jungles of South America. The hunters of the regions have used it since ancient times. Effects instant paralysis and subsequent death. Enters the body through a wound which was covered up with a gunshot. Okay. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? I presume not, but I do. The prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency. Reinusuke, we're out of options here. This is really our very last chance. Yes, I know. Your Excellency, the defense does have new evidence. That look. The unyielding stare of a true Japanese warrior. Well, Miss Brett? Yes, Your Excellency? If you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer. It's a delightful invitation, but I'm afraid. It's not so very long until tea time. I'll have to politely decline. Forgive me, Miss Brett. It seems I wasn't clear. I realized it was phrased as a question. However, I must ask you to treat that as an order. I've said it many times before, but the Japanese language makes no sense. My apologies, dear lady. Apologize to her bitch ass. So, counsel, what is this new evidence that demands the court's attention? Proof of poison! Oh, do I just present the whole thing? No.
Yes!
It's Jezel Brett. We understand that you were studying under Dr. Wilson at Yume University, doing research. Research, by sheer coincidence, perhaps, into a deadly poison.
Mommy, is that?
I'll plug it in. Thank you, baby. Love you.
Is she not?
Yeah? Mwah. Oh, I gotta find the plug.
Is she not?
That's not the plug. There's so many
Not
plugs over here.
yes or no?
Yes or no to what? Yes or no to what, baby? It's no problem for Brett. What, baby? What's the question?
Yes.
Yes or no to what?
Good.
Well, I don't want to agree to what I don't know.
A bug.
Where? There. Oh, it's okay, baby. You hungry? It's okay. I'll get it later. Hungry?
I see bug.
It's okay. It's okay, Janet. It's not bugs, it's dirt in the carpet. Hey, you want to make you some wheels? We're out of chicken, so it's... Those are... No, you ate all the chicken. You want to eat that? You want me to make you wheels too? Okay. Just sweat like Fred. That's a good reference. Poison? Where are you going with this, Council? A toxin known as pure air, Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison enters the body, leads to immediate death.
Objection!
What? What complete and utter nonsense? Pure air, you say? I've never heard of it. You wouldn't have done. What do you mean? I mean that you wouldn't have heard of pure air before for one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country. Doesn't exist? Correct, which means no matter what tests the police can do for toxins, they never identify pure air. Why? Because there is no test available here that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison. Council, does this deadly poison truly exist? According to this report, authored by the visiting research student from England, pure air has long been used by the tribespeople of South America as a poison to lace their arrows. It seems that it's reasonably well known among European doctors and scientists. To lace their arrows? The report states that it is produced from the extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle, and it was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. It claims that animals shot by arrows laced with pure suffer instant death. Doesn't that about sum it up, Miss Brett?
Objection!
Trumpery! These aspirations are utter trumpery. To start with, if the victim had been administered some of this so-called deadly poison, he would have been squirming and writhing in pain. The other diners would have surely noticed. That's true. No, because it said in the stuff it's basically like an anesthetic. His body would have shut down. Nothing would have happened. What do you say to that, Inspector? Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that. I don't remember anything like that either. I didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain. According to this, however, it's the other way around. What do you mean, the other way around? The very fact that the victim didn't show any visible signs of distress is evidence that pure air was used. Explain yourself, Counsel. The moment this toxin enters a person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they were in total agony, there would be no visible signs of pain at all. How terrible. Obviously, if a man lost all strength in his muscles, he'd collapse on the floor. But with a chair underneath him for support, as Dr. Wilson did, the effects could go largely unnoticed. But it don't follow, Kazuma. That's just paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death. The full explanation is extremely unpleasant. Poison causes immediate paralysis, as I said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the process is so severe it causes the muscles that control respiration to fail. Respiration? Breathing, Ryanosuke. In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while, the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move. That's hideous! To the observer, it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully into an endless sleep. For the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly Kira poison. And you're suggesting that this bottle, Council, actually contains this terrifying poison?
Objection!
This is all very convenient, isn't it? A hitherto unknown poison for which there is no means of testing? What a happy tale for the defense. If I may. All these facts, you think you're so clever, but you mustn't... It is you who must be taught. Of course. You think you'd learn not to interrupt her? So, this is how you Japanese behave, is it? What? You steal another's honest hard work and then announce the results as if you discovered them. I'm appalled. What a loathsome act. Well, Miss Brett, the feeling is mutual. Whatever do you mean? Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime? That really is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree?
Objection!
Enough of this. I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison that doesn't even exist in the great empire of Japan is breaking the rules. You should not be a lawyer. Huh. I'm like, what? What's so funny? Oh, excuse me, Your Excellency. Yes, Miss Brett? May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please? Well, yes, I don't see, why not? Oh, dear lord, don't give her the fucking... She's gonna break it. Oh, she didn't break the bottle. Okay. Don't get too big for your boots, you insignificant little island boys. Sorry? To an Englishwoman such as myself, this whole affair is a farcical comedy. Your little police games and these foolish courtroom antics, it's laughable, really. But I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for the games to end. I can't do an English accent for very long. Cheers! Wait, what are you doing? No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair. Don't do it, Haru. I'm sure it was a poison dart, though, because it came in through a wound, which is covered up by a gunshot. I don't think it's an ingestible poison. I think it's a dart poison. Goodness! Whatever is the matter? You all look quite stunned. So, no cure air. The bottle was clean. Is that what you're saying? You look quite incredulous, little boy, but of course. That's the simple truth. Thank you for presenting the findings of my research so concisely here in this grand venue. Most kind. She's my least favorite Haru, but she's okay. This is my favorite Kazuma. Kiryu is pretty good, but I like this Kazuma. Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency. Yes, Miss Brett. I should like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of friendship between our countries. Yes, dear lady. We are most gratified with all the assistance you have given. This doesn't make sense. There had to have been poison in that bottle, so how? How did she... How did she swallow a whole glass and live to tell the tale? I don't know. I haven't played Persona 3. I don't know most of their names, so therefore I can't make a judgment on a game I haven't played. I don't understand it. Well, I suppose if nothing else, this little Far Eastern charade will make for interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London. There's no more chicken. It's all gone. We can maybe go to the store tomorrow. Maybe. Want some wheels for now?
Yes. Oh.
You did eat it all. Very good. What are you doing? Goodness gracious.
Mommy.
Baby.
I love you.
I love you too, baby. I love you very much.
No.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm gonna poke you in the booty. Get off my chair!
Max. Yes.
My chair. Let go. No. We're not sitting in the chair, please. Come on. Come on, Hubert.
No.
My chair. Rude. These are social links. Oh, I know none of the social links. I only know the teammates. There has to have been poison in that bottle, doesn't there? But there can't have been, because otherwise she would have keeled over dead. Come on, Ryunosuke. We have all the clues now. That bottle of water contains no poison. Stop. Yes, it'll go, Maru. As I thought, there's no poison in that bottle. What? Why, Ryunosuke? Isn't it obvious? If there was poison in there, she'd be dead by now. Sometimes, your unalterated naivety really astounds me. But sometimes it's in need of a good stating. Until Stark is a uniform in the way of the world. Oh, is that what this color is supposed to represent? I just got threatened. Oh, okay. But it doesn't contain poison or she'd be dead, right? This whole trial is poisoned. There has to have been poison in that bottle, doesn't there? But there can't have been. Guess it contains poison. The culprit did put career poison to Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. Defense refuses to change its position. You're serious?
Objection!
Fool! Are you blind? There's no possible way that bottle could contain poison. I mean, we just saw Miss Brett drinking the water from it. That's right. Which rather complicates your argument, I think. And I believe that complication can be explained. How exactly? I need to think through all the things that don't quite add up here, one by one. I'm sure the answer is in the evidence we have in the court record somewhere. It has to be. I don't know, let me look. Well, wouldn't the bullet? Wouldn't he be? Or she put it into his individual glass that she took. Or she shot it with something. Okay, hold on. Very well. If the defense truly intends to assert this claim, Okay. Then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence. What explains that the witnesses have consumed the supposed poison water unscathed? Maybe because it was in the glass? Okay, what about this though? Because it says root of entry has to be a wound. What is that? Am I on that yet? Or am I supposed to be doing something else? Can I save? In case I fuck up a lot. Because this says that you have to be shot. But this also shows that she took a glass. I want to say this though.
Yes.
This shows that you have to be shot. The answer to this riddle is right here in Miss Brett's own research report.
Objection!
It's not a valid explanation. No. After all, we don't speak English. This report is utter gibberish. It's impudent among scoundrels trying to ridicule the court, Your Excellency. I'm not trying to ridicule anyone, honest. I'm just reading Susato-san's notes. I concur. This report is too extensive to be considered in the entirety by the court. It will direct us to the pertinent section council. Okay. Okay. Oh. The practical applications? Special character? Oh my god, what part of it? Can I look? Oh my god, I can look. Thank god, I'm dumb. Don't do this to me. It's okay, it's in the special characterizations. Don't do this to me. I don't remember titles. We've been hearing a lot about this cure poison. And it's left me curious about something. Oh, Council? Well, it sounds as though indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years, to lace the heads of the arrows that they shoot at whatever prey they're hunting. We've been led to believe, yes. And the point of hunting is to catch prey to eat. Get to the point, please. But if they were to use these laced arrows, doesn't that mean there would be traces of poison left in the prey the hunters were going to eat? 'Cause it doesn't work through drinking it. Yes, good point. So surely the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because then they'd be eating poison. But gracious Council, no, that would be madness. But I actually found the answer to that conundrum. In this research paper here. Under special characteristics, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound. Through a wound, you say? I see, that makes sense. Yes, the mention of that particular detail seemed a little strange to me, though. Or through his burn. But it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When Kira enters the body through an open wound, it has terrifying poisonous effects. However, when it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poisonous effects whatsoever. What? Miss Brett, you authored this research. You knew Kira's special characteristics. And you knew that you could make a spectacle of drinking that water without any danger to yourself. It's me. It's because I wrote that.
It's you.
Oh.
Mama.
It is Mama. You want to take the book back?
No.
Okay.
It's your.
It is mine. I wrote it. You meddling little... Oh my god! Oh my god! The bird fucking moves! Okay. The bird moves, guys. I can't take it. The bird moves. What? Why are we brushing my hair? Oh, hello. hair messy?
It's too short.
No, here. Come put the chair right here. Come put the chair right here and you can brush it from the side, okay? Come here. The perv is taking me too far. Come here, baby. Bring the brush. Look. Jelly. Yes? Okay, hold on. Let me grab it for you.
I got it.
Did you?
Yes.
See, you can stand right on the chair and brush my hair.
No.
No?
They buy it.
Okay, well, we're just get. It turns out you're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be. Really? Me? God, the bird is too far. A lawyer.
Objection!
All of this poison talk is fascinating, I'm sure, but I fail to see how it possibly... So, the ill-bred little puppy has a new toy to play with. Some facts he read in a book. But I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly. What are you trying to say? Your schoolboyish logic has a fatal flaw. Schoolboyish? Flaw? As even your brain has managed to deduce, Curea is safe to ingest. It seems likely that its effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gas exosis. Oh, yes, well, of course. Gastric suckers? What are they? Your intestines, baby boy. And your stomach. Stomach juice. So this lethal poison is completely harmless when drunk.
Oh, Sam.
Yum! You want me to hold the comb? The professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he? I know what's up. I have a theory. Okay.
We have pony.
Can we take the hair out?
No.
Bonk.
Here.
What are you doing?
You brush it.
You want me to brush my hair?
Mhm.
Okay. Do you feel better now?
Mhm.
All done. I brushed it all out. Hate using a comb. You should. Yo, I'll go for it. Go for the theory. Yeah. Ah! That's right. Good gracious. That's basic science. Science that even a schoolboy should be able to understand, no? Jelly, be nice to my chair.
Do you read Pop?
I do too. That could be. The logic holds. If the lady and the professor drank the same poison, they would be affected in the same way. Are you trying to suggest? Yes, his cure of poison is completely irrelevant to the case on trial, but he wasn't. He was shot with it. That's right. Surely even a little cockroach like you could understand something as simple as that. What is this? Welling up inside me. I've never felt like this before. It's a sort of conviction to break down all the discrepancies. It's so intense, almost rage-like. And more than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey.
Objection!
He did the thing! I know that thing! I don't think so, Miss Jezelbrett. How dare you use that tone with me? You know very well that there's no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why, even though both you and the victim swallowed the same poison. You are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead. Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you. You must provide compelling evidence, as we know that this poison is completely harmless when ingested. But Dr. Wilson alone had been killed by the cure. The poison gunshot. Okay, so it has to be the gunshot. Doesn't it? Or do you want me to go with your theory? I feel like it has to be the gunshot because that's a wound. Or the burn. It could be the burn. I have to think. Thinking is hard. Thinking requires saving in case I fuck up. So it could either be the gunshot. It could be drinking anything but water. It could be the drinking anything but water. It could also be... Okay. Here, let's go with your theory. Let's commit to Jumpy's theory. As Miss Brett so readily pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there was a fundamental and fatal difference between the two diners. Look at you, Jumpy! You did predict something! Look at you! Fatal difference? I think this is correct. This feels correct! The toxic effects of cure are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So, for a healthy person with no injuries... His tooth! I totally forgot! He has an open wound in his mouth! I totally spaced on the fact that having a tooth removed is an open sore. Oh my god, Jumpy, you're so smart! It wasn't the anesthetic, but he has an open wound in his mouth. But what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poisoned water? Inside? Yes, like the wound you might have if you had just been to the dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example. Feeling it come together! Miss Brett, you've acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you were well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day. So that's it. You use that knowledge to orchestrate this. We got us there. We got us there. It was very smart. Here, what are you doing? You nutter? She's laughing. I don't like it. Is she laughing? I don't like to repeat myself, but honestly, I can't resist. These childless courtroom games and your half-baked arguments are all so puerile. What do you mean? Don't worry, little schoolboy. You'll find out soon enough.
Mommy.
And now she's gonna break the glass. Yes? What's your problem? Oh. No, not your shirt. Where's your wipes? We'll clean it up with the wipes. You don't need... One time my theory isn't just to kill out. Bring all those... Here. I got the wipes right here.
It's so good idea.
It is a good idea, young lady. You want to go in the bathroom, use a towel. Don't silly, the wipes would have done the same thing. Huh? No, not until bedtime. You can leave that on until stay out of that closet. Understand? No new shirt right now. Because you're still eating and you're just gonna get more food on it. That'd be a waste of clothes, dude. You see, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it. No! I mean, it could just slip. How rude. Oh dear, how careless of me. I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have just been tragically destroyed. I mean, isn't that enough to make her be guilty? Because she broke evidence? Officer, what are you waiting for? Collect up as much of the water from that broken bottle as possible, at once. You're wasting your time. This delightful carpet under my feet here was a gift from the British Empire. I assure you it will soak up the water beautifully. You'll have neither the technology nor the presence of mind to recover it. This just basically makes her guilty. Like, she would be charged here. Because she's basically admitting her guilt by breaking evidence. How could you? You won't get away with this. You can thump the bench and shout as much as you like, little boy. But I'm afraid we'll never know now, will we? If there really was poison in the bottle, or not. The glass! That was in her handbag, though. And let us not forget. We still have some very compelling evidence left intact. Isn't that right, counsel for the prosecution? Oh, of course, of course! You're referring to this photographic print, I assume, dear lady. That's right. And really, looking at this photograph, it's as clear as day, isn't it? The poor professor was sitting with his back to me. So of course the only person that could have shot him from the front is the little schoolboy.
Objection!
No, you killed the victim that day, using Curer. And then, in order to frame Ryunosuke Naruto for the crime, you waited until he picked up the pistol you had arranged for him to find on the floor, before you shot the professor's dead body in the chest with your own hidden gun. Then, in the confusion that followed, all you had to do was turn the dead professor and his chair around. You see, you had every opportunity to commit this crime. What a wonderful imagination you have, young man. A hidden gun, you say, and I shot the professor's dead body, did I? Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you don't have a shred of evidence. Exactly. And as you have nothing to support your wild claims, the prosecution's stance remains unchanged. The victim, Dr. John H. Wilson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Delivered in cold blood by the accused, Ryunosuke Naruto. This is unbelievable. How can this be happening? We had her. But now, is she really going to get away with it? The way she destroyed the evidence was obscene. Ryunosuke. Yes? We've come this far, but now you're the only one who can finish it. What? What do you mean? We've lost a vital piece of evidence, it's true. So if there are any clues left for us to use now, they must be in your head. In my head? You told me before that your powers of observation were the one thing you could really depend upon. Well, yes, that's true, but I didn't manage to notice that this woman was a foreigner with a swan on her head. How do you miss that, by the way? So think back again now. Try to remember every last detail about that scene that day. Everything you saw, everything you felt, every color, every smell. What I saw, what I felt. Every color? Is Kazuma right? Somewhere in the vibrant memory of the same scene in my head. Would there be another clue to expose the identity of Dr. Wilson's killer? Actually, Kazuma, I think I might have something. Thinking back over everything I saw, I think I might have uncovered another clue. Ha, you always have something up your sleeve, don't you, Ryunosuke? Come on then, let's wipe that smug smile off that English woman's face with some evidence. Alright, I can't wait. Been niggling me for a while that something feels amiss in my memories of that day. Whatever it is could be the key to arriving at the truth about all this. Somewhere here the clue that shows who did it. It's blood, because the gunshot wound would have bled.
Take that!
Inspector Hosonaga, answer me this. Yes? What is it? He's still miles away, probably thinking about that bottle being smashed. As you've said a number of times now, you strive for perfection in your investigations, don't you? Absolutely. I wonder, therefore, if perhaps you took anything else from the scene of the crime. Like, for instance, the plate of steak that you took? The victim's table that day?
Objection!
Wait a minute. Where are you going with...
Shut up!
Where are you going with this, little boy? Why did you interrupt me? I was gonna say the same thing you are. It's just a memory that's been troubling me. What memory? I saw the scene shown in this photographic print with my own eyes that day. And I saw that on the wooden base of the plate the steak was served on was a splattering of blood. What?
I find no picture of Mommy.
Yes, lots of pictures of Mommy. Very cute.
No.
You're very cute. Oh, really? And what of it? Obviously, that must have happened when you shot the professor. Except the bullet didn't go all the way through. No, that can't be the case. Take a good look at the photograph and the relative position of everything there. The plate of steak is almost directly behind the victim. If I'm supposed to have shot Dr. Wilson in the chest from the front, there's no way the blood from the victim could have ended up directly behind him. Yes. For blood to have made it onto the plate, it implies the plate was between the victim and the shooter, which means the shooter must have been sitting opposite the professor as you were. Des Obret. I beg your pardon?
Objection!
This is beyond ridiculous. Fabricated nonsense. Is the court seriously expected to believe something the accused has apparently just remembered seeing?
Hold it!
This could be the moment that my entire career in the police force has been leading to. Inspector, you mean... Yes, I took the plate. In the interest of preserving evidence from the scene of the crime. I took it, neat and all, and I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief because of it.
Go.
Thank you. You did what? I took the steak that you'd been eating, Miss Brett. I took the steak the surgeon had been eating. And I did it all in the name of justice. I love this man, too. He needs to go to a hospital, though. You can find out for sure whether or not there's a bloodstain on Miss Brett's plate. Must examine it now. Inspector. The court wishes to examine the plate from the victim's table immediately. You can see it from here. Sorry for the delay. Here's what you ordered. Steak. Well, what about the blood? Is there blood on it? Of course there isn't. Quickly, Inspector, the blood man, show the court. Oh, there isn't. It looked like there was. No, no blood. No blood anywhere. But, no, that's... It looked like blood from the ankle. I know I saw it, I'm sure of it. It's right there on the table behind the professor. Blood on the side of the plate. Such an unbecoming expression, little boy. Bird? I hate it. See, this is why obviously you can't trust what the Japanese tell you. She's such a racist bitch. What the fuck? I couldn't agree more. It's a case of disgrace to the empire. You are a disgrace to everything. Stop. I believe we finally have reached our conclusion of this trial. Let's hope so. Let's pretend the courtroom proceedings is painful to watch. But I do promise to do my best to forget all about it when it's over. Sorry-looking steak reveals the facts all too clearly. The sorry-looking accused wishes to examine it again. Be my guest. Okay. No. This is it now. I've lost. Hold on. Let's look at the steak. Shut up, Dave. What? What? What the world is... That's the guy's coin! So this isn't the plate! This is the other guy's plate! think it's a kebab coin. Bon coin. Oh my era. No, I don't mean what is it. I mean, what's it doing there? Wait, did you say it was a Hoy Kuban? Yes, and apart from the meat juices, it must be a good condition. I imagine it's very valuable. This is the first time today there's been talk about Hoy Kuban. I've heard of pearls before. And I don't think you ever will again. It's extraordinary, though. This means this isn't the plate. I certainly never expected to find a precious coin that would make this thick cut of meat. And it's from the Hoy era, too. That would make it really quite valuable. Well marinated in the juices as well. Look. Are you thinking of eating it? No. But the next time I order a steak at an expensive restaurant, one thing's for sure. My heart's going to be racing as I lift the meat and marination. I'm crying! I think you might have the wrong end of the stick about this for your news game. Watchable explanation. But this isn't the plate. Yes. Okay, lay down. I'll be right back, guys.
Check.
I'll check when we get in there.
I will.
Okay. You're so silly. Is it a cat? It's a bull. Obviously. Most likely because the restaurant's signature dish is beef steak. Seems a lot of different restaurants have their own unique tableware. So this is the symbol of La Carnival, is it? It's 100% not. Wait, thank you! Not over yet. Not until the final gravel. Never stop believing in yourself. Keep looking forward, no matter what. Believe in myself. Really? Maybe I should at least examine the evidence for myself. As for the evidence requested by the defense has not been shown to be problematic in any way, I presume any further examination of evidence in this trial will be necessary. Does the defense have any objection? That bloodstain was going to cinch the trial for me. This plate of steak reveal any other clues at all? Your Excellency, please wait. This plate of beef is hiding another clue. Another clue that will reveal the shocking truth.
Objection!
The only thing that's shocking here is your unhealthy fascination with beef steaks. Leave me alone. Your Excellency, I think I've made myself clear, haven't I? I will not be able to turn a blind eye anymore to unnecessary procrastination in this trial. I'm sorry, Miss Brett. Must ensure a thorough examination of the evidence. Not give a ruling until I'm completely satisfied that all reasonable doubt has been dispelled. I see. As a newly affirmed ally of my country, that's still your position, is it? Thank you, Your Excellency. Counsel for the defense. You will now clearly show the court what you are alluding. I mean, it's under the steak.
Got it!
Sorry, okay. You wanted me to turn it first, okay. My bad.
it!
Good gracious. That's... What on earth? Wait, Arrow wanted that. Miss Brett, this is in fact the beefsteak that you ordered at the restaurant in question, is it? Tell me, why is there no coin seemingly hidden underneath the meat?
Shut up!
It's a ridiculous question. How should I know? I've never seen that thing before in my life. I don't know what this is, but I want no part of it.
Objection!
I fail to see how this is relevant. A coin underneath the meat? That could simply have been a careless mistake by the chef in a moment of distraction. Not!
Objection!
Don't be absurd. We're supposed to believe this happened by accident in the kitchen? A rare boy Kaban just happens to be hidden underneath this piece of steak? If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll rip up my ticket to Great Britain right now. Oh my god, calm down. He's right. It can't be a coincidence. Your Excellency. Yes, Counsel? A rare Fourier Kaban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak. This turns out to be irrelevant to the case. I'll give up my lawyer job right now.
Objection!
By all means, don't let us stop you. No one invited you anyway.
Shut up!
Perhaps, little boy, you should realize that it's you who is irrelevant. Even though I'm the one on trial here. The point is, it's essential that we ask the owner of this coin if he can explain what he's doing under that steak. The owner? Yes, it's obvious. There's only one person it can belong to. I know who it is.
Take that!
Obviously, it can only be the antique dealer and owner of Rasate, Kiryu Karuta-san. Kiryu, as in Mystic Cucumber or something? Honestly, ridiculous Japanese names are quite unfathomable. I'm gonna reach through and I'm gonna beat her up. Oh my god. Better than your name! Your name sounds so fucking dumb, lady! Are you kidding me? Get out of my chair! Eat books! Yes! Out of my chest! I'll pick them up. Little booger! You're welcome! Ah, yes. The old man who testified earlier alongside the military sergeant, correct? Yes, Your Excellency. I remember him saying that he was up to something with the Koban coin when it happened. At exactly the moment the gun was fired. Already read this yesterday, I'm not reading it again. Then this Hoei era Kaban, you mean to tell me?
Objection!
No, please, why would Korakuta-san's Kaban be sandwiched between the victim's beefsteak and its plate? It makes no sense.
Yes!
Which is why I'm asking to bring Korakuta-san back to the witness stand so we can ask him. Officer, bring both witnesses that testified earlier back in here. Without a moment's delay. I can't believe you come back around to that pair again. But I have a hunch, a strong hunch. If we chase down the real significance of this Kaban, we'll find that it's a key element in the case. And that just means that he gave you the wrong steak. It's the other steak. Man with baby's back. What is this all about? Why have I been called up again? Don't you realize it's dinner time for little baby Ido? My son's belly is empty. He's fiercer than a pack of wolves. Exploited by the police we were. Like miserable dogs forced to bear false witness. And when cast from this courtroom, myself, I became a ruined man in a trice. A worthless, withered, empty. What is wrong with you? Nothing more have I to say. The sun has set on this Razorte shop owner's existence. Are you okay? Buddy! Be that as it may, Korakuta-san, something has come up to light that requires your clarification. As far as your ascertained memory serves, have you ever seen this Koba? What the fuck? What just happened? Dude, this is why you don't have a fucking knife out. Jesus. I need a breather. Oh my god. That's it. The very exact one that it is. The resplendent, splendiferous Hawaii treasure that my rusty bones managed to misplace that fateful day. It can't be. As I thought. Young man, enlighten this decrepit old fool. Put me out of my misery. Where? Where was my treasure? Where was it dropped? Oh, I'm not sure if it was dropped anywhere. We found your coin sandwiched between a beefsteak and its plate, soaking in the seasoned meat juices. Sandwiched? Soaking? Seriously? Clearly, it couldn't have fallen there by accident, which means somebody must have hidden it there on purpose. Somebody concealed my Hoei treasure between a slab of meat and a metal plate? Who would do such a thing? Such an unconscionable thing? This man right here. This man. With the baby. Excuse me. Could I say something? Yes, of course. Proceed, Inspector Hosonaga. I mentioned this earlier on in the trial, but I was working undercover in the restaurant in order to investigate another case. Ah, yes, that's right. The secret undercover operation. The Carnival is a high-class Western cuisine restaurant. It attracts wealthy diners, including many foreigners. Recently, there's been a run of similarly executed thefts targeting the restaurant's rich clientele. A number of such incidents have been reported to the police bureau. Wicked crimes indeed. We wanted to nip the case in the bud quickly, especially with so many foreigners being affected. So that's why you were sent in undercover, is it? Yes. I took on the job of waiter at the restaurant in order to flush out the criminal. It seems likely that this Kaban incident is the work of the same thief. So unbeknownst to us, there was a master thief at work in the restaurant on a regular basis. This place was already the scene of several crimes, it seems. I don't know about the master thief part, but the identity of the person who stole Hikoku's Senkoman is all too clear. What? I know who it is. I think the court would like to hear the defense's view on this matter. Tell us, who is this despicable scoundrel that stole Korakuja's kaban and hid it under the steak? It has to be this man, because he was also eating a steak. A phantom thief.
Take that!
Obviously. It can only be you. Sergeant Iisa Nosa. A phantom thief. How dare you, you monster. Monster? I stole that kaban, did I? I'm the master thief of the Carnival, am I? You're seriously accusing me of all these crimes, cadet? But it wasn't me, it was Ido! Ido was the mastermind behind all this! I said it earlier, their baby stole it. And you know what? I was fucking right. You would push the blame for your crimes on your own son, an innocent little baby? It's you who's the monster, Sergeant Nosa. What? It's truly a phantom. Oh, it was exhausting to watch. What the fuck? On Imperial Army Sergeant Isanosa, preparing to stand down the Supreme Court, sir. He's pushing the baby again, oh god. Do any of you know of the extraordinary low wages in the Nippon Imperial Army pays, those it expects to keep our country safe? I understand that the temporary increase in taxation owing to the recently ended conflicts remains in place, and I've heard it's hard for lower-ranking soldiers to make a living, yes. All I want is to put a hot meal on the table for my son. That's why you were stealing things at the restaurant? The place is heaving with money. Every 3 days I'd go there and do reconnaissance for a target. And I'd enjoy chomping my way through a good steak at the same time. Sounds like he doesn't bother with a knife and fork even, which is worryingly believable. And your target that day was the old man, his caban? Yes, sir. He was an easy mark. I slipped the coin into my pocket without any trouble at all. A veritable phantom thief you are. They said it! They said the line! They said phantom thief! I was all set to leave the steak. I was halfway through devouring when it happened. Yes, when the professor was shot. You did call it. I know the police conducted a search and found the coin in my pocket. I'd be finished. Ido too. So I hid the incriminating evidence as fast as I could, on the double. I slipped it under the steak, hoping that I'd be able to rendezvous with it again at a later date. How would you be able to rendezvous with it? This is ridiculous. Thank you. Perhaps you could carry on with this absurd prattling in your own time? Well, Miss Brett. Oh, of course, dear lady, of course. How rude of us. I'm quite sure there's no need to detain you any longer at all. Are you okay? This is why you have issues. The slamming your head on the table. Indeed. The theft of the Kaban was clearly perpetrated by this baby-saddled sergeant. It would certainly appear to be unrelated to Dr. Wilson's murder. Of course it is. Hiding a coin under a lump of meat. The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. Nonsense, is it? And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it is beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Very well. Now that all questions concerning this witness testimony have been answered, I see no further justification for detaining her. I do. It was the wrong steak. Miss Brett, you are free to leave. Thank you, Your Excellency. Good luck, everyone. And good day. Come on, boy. Ryunosuke, what's the matter with you? There's no time for daydreaming. Oh, no, it's just... something about Miss Brett's parting words there got me thinking. I can't quite work out what exactly, but something she said jarred with me. I felt like there was a contradiction in there somewhere. Something didn't quite add up. If that's the case, don't just stand there thinking. Make your voice heard. Sorry? You can think later, but if you don't call out now, it'll be too late. The trial will be over.
Hold it!
Wait, Miss Brett. What is it now? I'm afraid, just one last time, there's something I'd like to ask you. I'd like you to explain the contradiction in your parting words from just a few moments ago. What are you talking about? What contradiction? What new student nonsense is this? Well, what parting words are you talking about, Ryunosuke? Yes, I'm right. What she said there exposed an undeniable contradiction. Wouldn't it be this one? When in doubt, fucking save. Not that I've been going back to fix my mistakes, but just in case. It should be the picture of the steak.
Take that!
Photograph or print of the scene taken immediately after the incident occurred? What's interesting is the plate of steak that you can see on the victim's table. Steak that Miss Bright had been eating before the professor was killed? Yes. Go on. More accurately, Your Excellency, the steak that was on the victim's table just before the professor was killed. Now you're just splitting hairs. Not true. Doesn't something about the steak strike you as very unnatural? Unnatural? What on earth do you mean? Get those trophies. It's extremely obvious. I'm talking about the shape of the edge where it's been eaten. I see you've noticed it too, Miss Brett. Notice what exactly, Consul? Just a few moments ago, Miss Brett claimed no Englishman could ever contemplate picking up a steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork. Of course she did. She's a refined English gentlewoman herself. And take a good look at the steak, in particular the edge where it's been eaten. As you can see, there are clearly defined barbaric teeth marks there. Oh, there it goes again. Internet, come back. Thank you. Looks like Miss Brett has realized something. So, if the witness, as she claims, didn't contemplate eating anything using a knife and fork, there shouldn't even be teeth marks in the steak at all. But what is your actual point? Perhaps the delightful Miss Brett was ravenously hungry and couldn't help her. Whatever you say, dear lady. As I said, I really must be leaving now. Afternoon tea with the Minister of Justice cannot possibly wait any longer. Of course, of course. This will all be over in a blink of an eye. Rest assured, I'm about to put this rookie in his place. Just leave everything to... Oh god, the bird. I've heard enough. Your irritating little spectacled samurai relic. Wow. Oh, of course, dear lady. What's the matter, Miss Brett? Have we ruffled your feathers? Clearly, the witness knows what this means. She's realized the catastrophic implications these teeth mark in the steak have for her. Ryunosuke, do you know where you're going with this? No, I don't. Oh, come on, Internet. Stop being dorky. I know it rained today, but chill. Yes, now, at last, it's all come together. The mysterious teeth marks in a steak that had allegedly been eaten with cutlery. The reason why the bloodstain I know I saw somehow seems to have disappeared, because it wasn't her steak! I do know where we're going. The evidence that proves once and for all who shot Dr. Wilson that day. I accept that these teeth marks in the steak are a little unnatural, as you put it, Counsel. But what exactly are you suggesting that tells us? Everything, Your Excellency. Everything? Yes, I believe that these barbaric teeth marks in the steak here amount to conclusive evidence in this case. Evidence that will prove beyond any doubt who shot Dr. Wilson. Conclusive evidence? How many times have I heard that today? You wouldn't know the meaning of the phrase. Typical Japanese empty threats. How can you be so sure? Oh, it's quite simple. If you really had such conclusive evidence, you would have presented it to the court long ago. Actually, the evidence I'm talking about hasn't been brought before the court yet. Hasn't been? What? But just because it hasn't been shown yet doesn't mean that the evidence does not exist. This is absurd. The trial has run several hours already, and you say there's evidence yet to be brought forward? There can't be. I don't believe you have it. I don't, but there's someone who does have it. Someone in this very courtroom. And if that person is willing to submit that piece of evidence I'm referring to, it will solve every remaining mystery about this case. Very well. I have a feeling this will be my last request of the defense in this trial. Who possesses the conclusive evidence? Dave? I want to say it's the waiter because he has the other steak. But what if it's her and her wine glass thing? But I want to say it's you.
Take that!
The answer is obvious. It's Inspector Hosonaga. What? I have it. Yes. You think I've been withholding conclusive evidence? That's ridiculous. He's gonna die. No, I'm not saying that. Everyone's attention has been focused on the stake with the teeth marks. Yes. Now, earlier this afternoon, Sergeant Nosa told the court the following. I enjoyed chomping my way through a good steak. And as well as admitting to stealing Korakuto-san's coin, he told us that he'd slipped it under the steak. Kelly, quiet down, baby. You watch it, Cadet. I'm a superior officer. Sergeant Nosa, could you please confirm something for me? Was the stake that you put the coin under, in fact, your own stake? Attention? Affirmative, of course. I might be a soldier in the Imperial Nippon Army, but still, what? Okay. Can we calm down? Getting late. I'm not brave enough to ask a foreign gentlelady if she'd mind me manhandling her meal to hide something in it. In other words, the steak that the detective submitted as evidence earlier was in fact Sergeant Nosa's meal.
Objection!
But that makes no sense. The plate was taken from the victim's table. Yet the gentlewoman doesn't take bites out of her steak, nor did she have any opportunity to steal the coin. Of course I didn't steal it. Even suggest such a thing would be an affront to the entire British Empire. Billy, calm down.
I'm right
I know you were right here. You're being crazy today. Yeah. Well then, how do you explain this paradox? Exactly. Surely you're not going to suggest that the sergeant switched the two stakes over. You did switch the plates. Jesus. Well, after it happened, when I saw the civilian had been murdered right in front of my eyes like that, I panicked. As I said, I immediately lifted my stake and hid the coin underneath it. But then when the waiter announced he was an undercover policeman, I thought I'd had it. He decided to investigate my slab of meat, that'd be it. Thank you, Jumpy. And be getting my marching orders. So when the cadet here was arrested and taken off to the kitchen, I seized my chance. With military precision and timing, I switched my stake with the one on the foreign lady's table. What? You can't have. I never saw you do such a thing. It was called Operation Lightning Bolt. There was no time for strategic planning. It was do or die, I tell you. So yes, I did what had to be done.
I look round. More round.
Oh. No, I'm not gonna follow you, baby. Mama's busy. You can wait till I'm done.
So,
Yes, you don't need any spinning things right now.
good job. I got pick up.
Then go get some water. However, fear not, prosecutor-san. What now? I swear on the brass buttons on my uniform, that's all I did, sir. All you did? That's plenty, Sergeant.
Yes!
You're cute. So, if Sergeant Nosa switched the plates over, it means he took Miss Brett's steak from the plate it was on back to his own table. Yes, that follows. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes? Earlier in this trial, you told the court this. You said that you had not only taken Miss Brett's steak after the incident, but also the sergeant's. That to preserve evidence, you had to take in both. Ah. She looks like she's gonna fucking pass out from stress. That's correct. Then please present it to the court now. The plate that was actually on the victim's table at the precise moment he was shot. What can that possibly tell us now? I mean, a cold slab of tough meat. It can't have the slightest bearing on the case.
Objection!
No, you're not wriggling your way out of it this time, lady. Don't I beg your pardon. Surely you're not that forgetful. Surely you remember the reason why the steak pan promises to prove such a problem for you, no? You're the ones who decided it was a problem, not me. The reason the defense asked to see that plate was to confirm something the defendant remembers seeing. Thanks, he remembers. I'm quite sure of what I saw, Miss Brett. Hey, stop banging, dude! On the side of the plate was on the table directly behind Dr. Wilson. There was a clear splattering of blood from the gunshot wound to the victim's chest. I believe the defendant's memory serves him well. And now we have the evidence to prove it. The plate you were eating from, Miss Brett. Let us not prolong this any further. Inspector, you will show the evidence to the court. Present the beefsteak and the plate that was originally on the victim's table at the time of the incident. Sorry for keeping you. Here's the other steak in his plate, and there's the blood! The blood stain. It's clearly visible, look!
Yes!
Now this makes everything clear. The blood you can see on the side of the plate shows that the moment the victim was shot, he was facing the table with his back to me. In other words, it's impossible for Naruto-san to have shot the victim. It can't be. In fact, there's only one person who could possibly shot Dr. Wilson from the front. I'm sure everyone knows by now who that person is. That's right. Miss Jezebel Brett. It's you! You're a dork. Okay, shh, dude, it's 9 o'clock. Outdone by a Japanese, me, by a Japanese schoolboy. No, no, no. Ah! Oh my lord. Oh my lord. Why do you want this, chicks? The fuck just happened? What's happening? Look at the little birds, though! The little swan babies. What? Take it off your head, please.
I did.
Okay, no more.
I did.
No more, then. Please? Alright, Mommy gets it then, and Mommy puts it away. No, you kept it on your head. That's not listening. You don't need to do that. You're gonna get something stuck to your head one of these times. Please excuse my little outburst. I briefly lost my composure. Most unbecoming behavior for an English gentlewoman. Forgive me. Well, Miss Brett, I think it's time you told the court what actually happened that day. The truth, this time. Gladly, Your Excellency. It was I who took the professor's life using pure air. As you surmised, I chose that particular day for one very important reason. The professor has a dental appointment for the extraction of one of his teeth in the morning. So you planned to kill the professor, knowing that no trace of poison would be found in his water, because pure air is unheard of here in Japan. Yes. Of course, I never intended to remain at the restaurant for as long as I did. I only needed to see the professor take one tiny sip of his water and it would all be over. I would place the steak I had ordered in front of him to make it appear as though he's been dining alone, and leave immediately. However, before any of that happened, there was an unexpected visitor at the professor's table. That would be me, I suppose. Yes, you. Who else?
I just said you.
Such a trifling matter, but the fact that you decided to come over to greet the professor— I have a water, baby. Here. Come here. You take this. Go in the room so you don't spill it. It meant that I lost my chance to slip away unnoticed. In due course, the professor took a sip of his water and was paralyzed. I made sure he was sitting in his chair such that he wouldn't fall. There was no going back at that point. So I concocted a plan in the spur of the moment. A plan to pin Dr. Wilson's murder on this innocent man? I happened to know that the professor always carried a gun. I decided to use that fact to my advantage. I had the bottle of Curare in my handbag, and my own pistol concealed under my skirt. Told you, this bitch probably has millions of spots for guns. Under your skirt? So I was right, there were 2 guns. Yes. And then I finished my coffee and got up to leave. That's when I noticed the professor's gun, which you had presumably placed on the floor. Placed where you were sure that I would notice it. And everything went according to plan. You noticed the gun as I'd intended. And then, just as you bent down to pick it up, that's when you shot the professor with your own gun. Even though at that point, he was already dead. Naturally, the gunshot caused a commotion, at which point the waiter appeared. Obviously, I assumed Naruto-san was the culprit and apprehended him. I took him to the pantry that adjoins the kitchen and locked him inside. That's when I took the opportunity to turn the professor in his chair around. Because of course, you needed to make it look like the defendant had shot Dr. Wilson from where he picked up the gun. So there you have it. That is the entirety of my misdemeanor. Did she just compare murder to a misdemeanor? Your Excellency. Yes. I wonder. Might I speak with you in private later? Right? Cold-blooded murder is not a misdemeanor. I shall call on you. No yelling, Jelly. It's too late at night for the yelling, dude. Thank you. Good day, then, everyone. I hope you can forgive me, Naruto-san. What just happened? Wait, did she just... Was she not... What happened? Oh, I guess they have to do another thing for her because they proved him innocent, but now they have to go through it again to prove her guilty, probably. It would seem this trial has finally run its course. I presume the prosecution is in agreement. This can't be! Takasuchi Achi does not lose. Not to the likes of this rookie student. You better start getting used to tough opposition. What? Yes? This is an insult to the Ashi family name. You will never be forgotten. You've become conceited with age, Council. Let the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. Woo! What are you doing? It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. Oh my god! The sword! The sword of Kazuma! 1,000 millennia may pass, and still, the Ochi clan will never measure up to the Naruto clan. I can't talk today, guys. I'm so done with the talking. This trial in the Supreme Court of Japan will, I believe, go down in history as the start of a new chapter in our country's judicial system. Despite being summoned as the accused, you, Ryunosuke Naruto, presented an excellent case. I thank you, Your Excellency. The use of evidence and deduction to unravel the truth is a modern mythology. After all, it has only been a few short decades since our country opened its doors to the wider world. But the Western ideas of science are rapidly gaining acceptance here. I feel sure that science will soon bring new methods of investigation and new procedures of justice. A new future of law awaits, but what it will look like, I cannot begin to imagine. That is for the young to pursue. Kazuma Asogi. Yes? After this trial, you are set to embark on a journey of discovery to the illustrious British Empire. Learn all that you can, absorb everything of the wider world that you are able to. And do not forget to fulfill the mission imposed upon you. What mission? Wait a minute, what? Kazuma? What are you supposed to do while you're in England? What was that about? Why did you look so grave all of a sudden? Ah, never mind. As for you, Ryunosuke Naruto. Oh, yes? In you, I sense, how can I put it, unusual potential. He's got the potential. I very much look forward to seeing how you carry that onwards. Thank you, Your Excellency. It is time to deliver the final verdict. I hereby find the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruto, not guilty. This court is now adjourned. I can't believe it. I can't believe what's happened. I made it. I defended myself and I made it through the horrendous trial. Ryunosuke, you finally pulled it off. Congratulations. Well, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, Kazuma. No, it was a pleasure to watch you at work. See me an extra large sukiyaki from the place on Yuma University Street, don't forget. Good afternoon. All your hard work has certainly paid off. Hi, Ash! Congratulations to both of you for proving Naruto-san's innocence. Ah, our trusty judicial assistant. You worked hard for the result too, you know. Oh no, I didn't do anything. Thank you so much! He's shocking the fuck out of her. If we hadn't had that research report of Miss Brett's, I don't know how things would have turned out. Your kind words should really be from my father. Ooh, a week off sounds nice. I was simply doing as he asked. It was his idea for me to go to the university and investigate. Ash, are you ready for tomorrow? Do you know what tomorrow is? Ash, are you excited? Because I'm excited. So fucking excited for tomorrow. Your father? Oh yes, of course. It's judgment! It's lost judgment! It's some good old himbo energy! Yeah! I'm so excited. And it's in Ichiban City! I'm excited to see Ichiban City again. I never remember the name of that fucking place. But I'm excited to see that in another game besides Like a Dragon. Maybe we can go to Ichiban Holdings. What if you could go look at Ichiban Holdings? That would be so cool. That just came into my head now that we can probably go look. It's gonna be forever before I get back to this. I'm glad I finished this the first story. Because I would have been mad if I had, like, not finished the first story. Sada Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Oh yeah, we read that. Speaking of Mikotoba. Ah, there you are. I believe congratulations are in order. Naruto, you did an excellent job. Thank you, Professor. Oh no, it is I who should be thanking you. After all, your efforts exposed the true criminal that took the life of my good friend. Good friend? Oh yes, you mentioned that before. It was you who actually invited Dr. Wilson to Yume University, wasn't it? Can you stop yelling? Oh my god! You're so loud right now. How rude you! You're screaming! Yes, that's right. Professor Mikotoba studied overseas himself. He went to study forensic medicine in Great Britain. Presumably, that's when you met Dr. Wilson. Exactly. In those days, we worked together in the same hospital. Oh, you worked together? I've never heard you mention that before. Well, it was a long time ago now. Besides, it's your turn, Asogi. Great Britain is a magnificent country. It leads the world. Yes, I think that's it, yeah. Apparently they changed it a little to work for action combat, but they apparently... No, the first one. Because the last game, there will be parts that take place in Kamurocho, but most of the game is, I think, gonna take place. They've mentioned it takes place in Jinko. Because he goes up, Yagami goes undercover in a high school. Which I want to know how a 40 or 2-year-old goes undercover. Yagami doesn't look like a teenager. Other than the fucking leather jacket shit, he doesn't look like a teenager. He looks at least 30, 40. But we'll see. Should be Fumiya going undercover. That would make more sense. They don't age. That's fair, but he started at 40, so he looks like he's 40. Okay? He started off in the first game as 40. He looks it. He's like the one character that looks his fucking age. Ryuji aged. I've been watching Dead Souls. I think it's just because it's a PS3 game. But Ryuji looks so fucking old, even though he's supposed to be younger than Kiryu. He looks older than Kiryu. Maybe it's a prequel. I don't think it's a prequel. Fumiya's in it! It's not a prequel! Fumiya wouldn't be in it if it was a prequel. That wouldn't make any sense. In science, medicine, engineering, culture, and of course in law. Watch and learn, my boy. See what's happening in the world's largest melting pot. I will. I'll learn all that I can. I swear in this, the spirit of the Asogi clan. Oh, Kazuma. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Ryuji has brains. I love this man. He's got Kiryu's fucking first name, so I love him. But I also just love him because he's such a sassy fuck with a sword! You're not taking that sword to Great Britain, are you? Of course I am. No, of course. Of course we're taking a sword to England. It's fine. Stupid. A Japanese man's katana is his soul. This blade shows me where I need to go. No one else in this game has a sword but you. Yeah, basically, I feel he's threatened. Okay, yesterday he told me, he's like, it's how sad you don't have trust in me. You don't think I can get you off. And then, like an hour later, he was like, I know how to shut your mouth. Okay, so he's very much a Kiryu and Majima put together. Okay, can I finish this? Can I finish this, please?
No.
I'll be right back. And cut down anything that's in my way. Yes. Hold on, put your dress down. You've seen how sharp it is with your own eyes, Ryunosuke?
Wait, let's go now.
Okay, go lay down.
Oh.
Oh my god! Can I finish the game after this? I was trying to be done by now. Booger. Get down. Get down. Eventually.
Da 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 da.
Oh, that's it. That's it.
No, no!
That's a perfect use of my emote. What are you doing?
Nothing!
What are you doing? Goodness. Shh. Enough yelling. That reminds me, what happened to this woman? To Giselle Brett, I mean. After all, she's guilty of murder. Ah, yes, her. It's not easy to tell you this, but... What do you mean? Surely she's going to face trial herself now. She's the true culprit, after all. She will be leaving Japan in the very near future. For Shanghai. What? Shanghai?
Mommy,
Yes.
stop talking!
I have to read this, booger. Hey, okay, I'm gonna turn the mic off if you're gonna be loud. Let it be. You don't need to see the mic rise up and down.
Why?
Because I'm trying to do the game, and you're gonna break stuff by knocking it over. Giselle Brett will not appear in court again in this country. I'm certain of that.
How are you?
What? But why not?
How are you, Mommy?
I'm good, baby. How are you?
What are your name?
Huh?
What are your name?
My name? My name is Mommy.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, me. Mommy.
M-O-M-M-Y. Mommy.
Mama.
Yes. It's a matter of consular jurisdiction.
That's right.
Inspector Hosonaga, are you okay now?
Mama.
Okay. It was a hard-fought battle in the courtroom today. Very impressive to watch. I must congratulate. But what's all this about consular jurisdiction? We cannot try this particular foreigner for her crimes here in Japan. What? We can't try her? Mama or mama? Whatever. Sometimes it's just mom. So. But then who? Who's going to bring her to justice? A British consular court will hear her case, somewhere far away, where our voices can't be heard. Why a consular court? Professor, I simply don't understand. I thought consular courts were a thing of the past now that we've signed the friendship treaty. Yes, in normal circumstances, you're right. Then, so long as this is not a serious incident of a highly political nature to our respective governments, they can't invoke a consular court just like that. Oh, can't they? Yes, she's a student, but it doesn't justify our governments making secret agreements about her fate, does it? Something strange is going on. So Miss Brett can't be held accountable for her actions here in Japan. I'm afraid that for the young student, today's trial was nothing more than a game all along. There was never any danger of comeuppance for her. I don't believe it. The British government's Foreign Affairs Ministry has demanded that we hand over custody of Miss Brett. They're obviously taking this case of a foreign student committing murder very seriously. But it's all going to change from now on. We can make it change. This is a time of great turmoil, this new era heralded by the start of the 20th century. One day, I have no doubt, that woman will receive the judgment she deserves. Oh, I love the name drop for judgment. Thank you. Yes, change is coming. And we're the ones driving it. Some mummies. I think that's enough seriousness for now.
Thank you.
Both hands, both hands. This evening leave it in here. This evening calls for a celebratory drink. A professor.
Thank you.
You're right. This is no time for gloomy faces. It's Friday here. It's not Friday here. And I don't get the game until 10 a.m. on Friday. We should be celebrating when it is not guilty verdict. Let's have some fun. In that case, might I suggest the carnival? As the head waiter, I should be delighted to You were undercover! How you still? We already found who you were undercover for! Do you even have a reason to be a waiter anymore? You're a detective, Hosonaga-san, aren't you? Oh god. Oh god, he's coughing the blood up again. Let's not worry about details for now. To La Carnival! Will you accompany us, Professor? Of course! La Carnival's food is second to none. I shall go and attend to the paperwork for Naruto-san's release. Oh, yes, thank you. Such as no Brett won't be tried here. I suppose that means I'll never know. I'll never find out why she killed Dr. Wilson. Kazuma. Yes, Runosuke? I just wanted to say thanks again, that's all. You really saved my skin today. I didn't do a thing. You were the lawyer in there, weren't you? That defense was all your own work. Your skills made the difference, though. One day, I bet you'll be the best lawyer in the world. I'm not so sure about that. To be honest, something kept occurring to me over and over again during that trial. I couldn't help thinking that maybe you're the one destined to become a great lawyer, not me. What? Come on, be serious. If I had helped you today, it was only right at the very start of the trial. But you have a natural talent for it, for being a defense lawyer, I mean. Oh no, not me. All that tense verbal combat? I never want to go through that ever again. We're gonna go through it for the rest of the fucking game. I did what you told me to do, that's all. Because I knew I could trust you. That's the point. Sorry? What do you mean, that's the point? Oh, my voice is already starting to hate me. Listen, Runosuke. Do you know what's the most crucial weapon that any lawyer needs in order to win? Knowledge of the law? No. The ability to believe. To believe? To believe what? A defense lawyer has to fight for his clients. He has to believe in them at all times. Like you believed in me when I said I didn't do it. I'm human, just like you. I don't have some superhuman ability to know the truth. But you have to make a choice about what to believe in, and stick to it when you're defending someone. Sometimes in the courtroom you can be really backed into a corner. But being able to remain faithful to what you chose to believe in even then, well, that's not something that anyone can do. It takes a special kind of person. Thank you, boyfriend. Believing in your client. Just look at today's trial. I'm a student lawyer with precious little real experience, but you never stop believing in me. Well, you face seemingly hopeless situations time and again, but you never stop looking for the truth. And in the end, you found it, through your own efforts. And because you never stop believing in me. Thanks, Kazuma. There's something I want to ask you, actually, Ryunosuke. Well, it's a favor, really. Something very important to me. It sounds serious. What is? Ah, you're still here, are you? Can you get the blood? You need to go to a hospital. Please take yourself to a fucking hospital. Oh, Inspector Hosonaga, I've arranged some rickshaws for us. Let's go. Thank you. We'll be right there. Let's pick up this conversation again later. We should be celebrating right now. Your first court victory. Your study tour to Great Britain, don't forget. Ah, yes. That too. So my very first trial came to an end. Kazuma. Professor Mikotoba. Suzato-san, who acted as my assistant. For 2 seconds, dude. Calm down. Inspector Hosonaga, who didn't really play much of a part, but still. It was because of the help and support of all these people that I managed to get through that trial. But more importantly, Kazuma hadn't yet managed to ask his favor of me. Little did I realize just how much it would change my life. Favor? Boyfriend favor? I guess I want to save my current progress. Stressful. I see her. Hold on. Herlock Sholmes. Okay, I said bye. I haven't said bye yet, Jumpy. You can see the outline of Herlock Sholmes. I'm excited for that. Whenever that happens. I have no idea when that's happening. Judgment is gonna take up my everything. Okay. Okay, so you could just click. How many is there? 5? 5 episodes? Alright, yes, now I'm gonna go. We'll be back tomorrow with Judgment. I'm so excited. I have my cosplay already. Bam! I'm excited. I'm gonna have my air conditioning on. Because even though it's been kind of nice today, I'm gonna melt. I don't have a single fucking cosplay that's not fucking warm. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye!